Now, speaking of Stephen the Levite, ladies and gentlemen, so it all started. If you guys missed the last episode, well, let me introduce our guest. Lamp Mode artist, was a Lamp Mode artist, now independent, doing his thing. You know him from the collective with Timothy Brendo, and don't let me do that. Don't let me do that to this brother, please. Help me out, Timothy Brendo. And
what do you mean?
You really gonna let me? My co-host.
What are you getting?
My co-host,
I have
Steven.
to know what you're talking about.
Zeta Blacksmith. Thank you.
The collective?
Yes, brother. Yes. Man, come on.
Sorry.
Stephen the Levite is in the building, ladies and gentlemen. What's good, Stephen?
That was the
Levite.
The professional.
It's awesome, dude.
Introduction.
It's awesome.
I don't know.
Pray for us, man. We're still working on that. It's episode 114. We are still trying to work this out. It's just gonna be like that forever. What's up, brother, man? It's an honor to have you on with us, bro.
Pleasure to be here.
Real talk, man. So listen, bro. I caught the tweet last week, man. It caught my eye, man. I seen you, wrestling through everything that's going on. It's crazy, bro. Like the pandemic. I heard a story about this dude who went into a coma before all this broke out. And then he woke up from the coma. This dude started flipping out. Like he jumped off. Like he thought he was in the Twilight Zone. He thought he died and like went somewhere else because all of a sudden his family can't visit him. People are wearing masks. There's protests happening. He's like, yo, this is not, no, you're not going to tell me that this is where I was. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I didn't even think of that. People that have been in a coma since the beginning of this or before it and be waking up now.
Kids
like this.
Like first episode.
Yo, that's crazy.
Yo, for real. We aren't. Oh man, that's scary. Episode 1, brother.
What did he say?
He said, I feel like it's episode 1 of Walking Dead.
Yo,
like, dude,
facts.
The thought of it
like
being
that,
episode 1 is super scary. I hope this ain't like a pilot. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, it feels like that though. Especially you look at the news and like what's happening on the streets and neighborhoods getting burned down. Like legit feels like Walking Dead. Like that's actually right on the head.
So as I'm watching all this happen right before my eyes, dude, I see struggles. I'm sure you see it as well with people that we respect, people that we love, people that, people that we've been seeing grinding within the genre for a minute. And you're just seeing it across the board everywhere. All these struggles as these things are being exposed and as these people are pondering these things, bro. And you just see division everywhere. You see a lot of stuff that's just causing a lot of anxiety and worry. And your voice has been piercing through a lot of what I've been seeing, dude. And I appreciate you for standing firm on truth and your convictions cautiously. Real talk, man. I appreciate you. Shout out to you, brother, for staying strong. Praise the Lord for what he's been doing to you and your journey. And thank you for sharing that with us as well. So going to this tweet, man, you said something around the lines. I got it right here. CHH has been colonized.
Yeah.
So in the middle of everything you've been tweeting about and your thoughts and everything, I see this one thing and I'm like, oh, now he chimes in. He switches up from like the political genre, the theological genre, and then this one was like specifically right in our niche. So
I'm not gonna lie, I was so like colonized. What does this mean?
Stephen the Levite calls out CHH and says it has been colonized. Can you please give us a little bit more insight on what you meant by that?
Well, so when I talk about CHH or hip hop being colonized, I'm not specifically talking about white people necessarily. I just mean that like people outside the culture, specifically, I mean, hip hop in general, we've seen this. Like hip hop was a culture. It was a bunch of like neighborhood kids from Bronx and, so on and so forth in New York. And they create this culture, this DJs and all that stuff going on. And then it starts making enough noise that people who are outside of the culture start saying, hold up, we can make some money off of this. You know what I'm saying? And so they invade, they start to make rules. They start to, they purchase the parts of the culture they can use. They try to own people. Like we own your name as an artist. We own your masters. So there's like a lot of like colonial type of behavior that happened in the industry in general. But I think even even specifically with Christian hip hop, what we've seen is, I think even more so around the time when CCM and Christian hip hop started doing a lot of like collaborative efforts and stuff like that. But you know, like there's certain radio
So
stations.
are you still saying that you're seeing that now currently, like in the climate of CHH right now? Was this something that
I think we're seeing? I think it's probably always going to be present a little bit, but I think what we're seeing right now, specifically in light of the social justice issues, is that we're seeing the nature of the relationship. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like when you got friends and, you know, things get tough and then they're like, all right, well, you know, check you later. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not there to help. They're not there to be a part of what's going on.
Facts, bro.
They're not like, oh, well, we're here with you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you need some money. You need some food. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's been the nature of our relationship as a genre with, you know, with certain denominations, certain, you know, people in, you know, who have been fans of the music, but they haven't really been connected to the culture. Because like I feel like with Christian hip hop and you know, and to an extent it's been a good thing. It's been a good thing that there's been fans who weren't necessarily a part of the culture, but they heard the theology in our music and they were like, yo, this is beautiful. You know what I'm saying? This is amazing. Where can I buy this album? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so they got, and I'm talking about like 70, 80-year-old white people. You know what I'm saying? Never couldn't stand hip hop, thought it was gangster music and couldn't stand it. But they heard a Shy Lynn CD and they were like, wait, this stuff is amazing, you know? So, you know, and again, that's good. That's beneficial. It's great. I'm glad they're enjoying it. But I think the problem is when the guests start treating themselves or start acting like they own the place.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
I know exactly.
It's one thing
to
be a fan. It's another thing to start making up rules. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no. You do see it a lot, man. And I know exactly what you mean. This is something that me and Gil discuss a lot. I'm glad that you see it as well. But yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. And I know what you mean by still appreciating the fact that it crosses over to other cultures and other areas. But I think what I'm understanding you saying is that you're going up against the people who are trying to monopolize on this thing and try to use it in a different way, not to really be a part of it, to lift up the people that are really within it, and
push the genre forward.
You know, because let me ask you something, brother. Real talk. Would you consider rap a calling? And I'm trying to get into something because I want to respect. I want to respect the art form, but I don't want to go to the extreme. You know what I mean? So what would you consider it to be? Like, is it a ministry? Is it a calling? Is it something that God has predestined before time that you're going to go into this and you're going to use your voice to honor me with your lyrics and your platform?
And in this way.
Or is that like over the top? Because some people would say that's too extreme. What do you say?
I think it can be. I think my viewpoint is a little bit more simple. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that God has called you to do whatever you're good at. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, you could be called to be a janitor. You could be called to, you know, be a pastor. You could be called to, you know, be a banker, at a bank teller. You know, like I think your calling isn't like that deep. Like, it's not like, oh, this can be a calling, but this can't. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but some people think like that. They think like only things of ministry are callings, and those are things of just sovereignty. Like, you are sovereignly placed in that role, but a calling belongs to pastoralship. To you know,
I think that's another product of the like false dichotomy of sacred and secular. That we see in evangelicalism. But like, I think, because again, like you look at Adam and Eve, and what was their calling? Their calling was to make babies and tend to the garden.
And tend to the garden. Facts. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That was their calling.
That was
like
it.
That was God's
Those were simpler times, man.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't wait for those times, man. I'm feeling the aches in my body, brother. I'm like, hold on a second. Like,
wouldn't that have been crazy?
What's going on? Like, I'm getting out of bed and I'm cracking and I'm like, snap, crackle, pop. I'm like, yo, man. Like, what's going on in my body, bro?
Yeah, man.
But yeah, no.
Definitely.
It's a fallen world, man.
No, so I feel like hip hop is just like, yo, if you're good at it, keep doing it. God might use it. He might not. You know what I'm saying? If you're actually really good, you might, get some traction. You might be able to share the gospel with some people. You might be able to feed your family. You know what I'm saying? But, it's kind of, it is kind of what it is,
Yeah.
It's kind of up to you to determine the wisest way for God to, like, either, use you for what you're saying or how you're saying it, or who you get to be in contact with in the process, or, who it puts you in front of. God could use it in a multiplicity of ways, just like a lot of other things.
Don't you think that any type of sacrifice that a Christian makes in his life, whatever it may be, is glory and honor to God?
Absolutely.
If you're sacrificing,
if you sacrifice in that thing, and that is your main motive of whatever it is that you're doing, that is glory and honor. That is a sacrificial. That's like you burning a sacrifice, a pleasing aroma to God. Like it's to His good pleasure in Christ, of course. I'm not trying to bind anybody to burning animals, but so like for example, like what we were talking about, where you have the picture of Saul running and hiding. David running and hiding, and Saul is pursuing him to kill him. Mm-hmm. And then it says in the Bible that God is protecting David. And then the question is, so then why is he running and hiding? Well, because he has a responsibility to run and hide, right? Like, so God is allowing him to have his 2 feet and have the energy to run and hide. He's blessing him with those places to hide. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying? So in that's not a vain thing. That David's escape is not done in vain. He lies to the priest. He gets the bread. He gets the sword. He bounces out of there. The priest gets killed. Like, the dude's gone. The dude's running, and it's like, yo, he's not doing this in vain. He's glorifying God in his escape. But if you got another person who's running and doing the same thing David did, and he gets the bread, and he steals the sword, and he takes off, and he's running in vain, the same exact actions, parallel. One of them done to honor God, and the other one not. And I think we have a lot of that within CHH, bro. I think we have a lot of people who are running side by side with people who have that C in front of them. Everybody want to hashtag that CHH. That C in the front is Christ, man. Like, did people forget? Like, what? That's that extra, that C right there in front of that HH is Christ, bro.
Facts.
And so who's to determine what spirit we run in this thing that we call CHH? What spirit is it? Is it the spirit of entrepreneurism? Is it the spirit of success? Is it the spirit of getting the bag? Is it the spirit of glorifying? What spirit are we running in? Or is it in the spirit of the Lord? It's like we done forgot this, man.
Yep.
The division is nasty. Yo, I confess right here with you, brother. I'm looking at you right now. I know we all washed out. I'm sorry, it's the webcam. We actually have the dope cam for the live. But yo, I'm looking at you right now with full conviction in my heart, telling you right now, confessing you right now. You know how many times I struggle with that? You know how many times in this thing I got so heated, I'm like, I'm good at what I do. Like, what, I'm doing this for free at this point. Like, what's good with this, man? Like, what? I'm slaving for y'all. What's good? I'm here. I got a dope camera. I got a dope setup. I got the dope audio. I got the passion and the desire to try to entertain y'all. I wanna take this on the road. I wanna do all these things. What's good, God? And God's like, yo, chill out. Chill out. You ain't doing this for them. That's why you ain't getting it. Chill out. Yeah. Who you doing this for?
Amen.
Do this for an audience of 5 faithfully. Do this for an audience of 1 faithfully. My bad, bro. Spirit of the Lord, bro. I'm sorry.
Absolutely, no.
My bad, bro. My bad, bro.
Like, because I've definitely been there. I mean, when I wrote my song "Temptation," I was basically saying the same thing. Like, Like, I'm a beast. Like, cats stay on the
You are a beast.
You are a beast. You are. Let me.
I'm on people's top
I wish we had the
five.
gunshot.
You are a beast,
I'm
man.
not making a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
I'm from Canada, bro. Like, what's going on? You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
Like, why am I wasting my time giving people 100 bars of straight gospel, like intricate rhyme scheme?
I feel you, bro.
When these cats will buy 2 verses of little mumble rapper dude over there. Like, what am I wasting my time for?
Yeah, man. You need to cut out all that extra stuff.
It is.
Like,
that's real talk. That's real talk.
I feel it with all of my soul, brother. I've been there, bro.
Yeah, man. But going back to what I'm saying to the calling, bro, is like wrestling through that. That's exactly what God's using to show me. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the thing. So everybody has their path, but it's dope that you can recognize people that are on the outside coming in and seeing opportunity. If you could speak directly to those people right now, like straight up from the bottom of your heart to those people that you say that you see are trying to colonize this thing or trying to use this thing for the spirit of entrepreneurialism or the spiritual all those other spirits other than Christ, what would you say to them right now?
You're a guest. You're a guest. Like, you don't get to make rules. You don't get to, eat off the culture and disrespect us in the same, at the same time. Like, that's, I see you. I don't know who else sees you.
I see you.
But if I see it, I'm going to call it out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not, like, because again, I don't just love Christian hip hop. I love hip hop. You know what I'm saying? When I was in high school, the first 3 years, like, my high school was real segregated. You know what I'm saying? The black people sat here, the Asian cats sat over there. You know what I'm saying? Everybody was kind of clicked up, right? For the first 3 years, I sat with the black people. But my 4th year, I was like, hold up, I'm going to sit with these cats instead because those were the hip hop dudes. That was the culture I identified with more than even my black culture. You know what I'm saying? Partly because I was an East Coast hip hop fan and I was in the West Coast. And a lot of my black friends were more West Coast fans. But my hip hop fam, like, there were B-boys, there were graph writers, there was DJs, there was, other rappers. And those were my people. Maybe one other person in the group was black. The other cats, for the most part, were like Latino and Asian. But those were my people, though, because they understood the culture. And that's what I identified with at the time. Like, I said it on front of me, it's like, it gave me identity. Like, that's who I was. Like, hip hop culture was part of who I was. So I love the culture. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's like family. It's like,
Yeah, exactly. It is family.
It is family, yeah.
And so,
it's like a certain thing that you carry when you're part of it, right? Like,
exactly.
It's a certain thing that you recognize immediately when somebody got it. It's like, all right.
Exactly.
You could flock to them.
And like, I bring that into CHH with me. You know what I'm saying? Just like Paul said, for my countrymen, you know what I'm saying? Like, hip hop is my countrymen. You know what I'm saying? Like, hip hop culture is who I identify with. And I identify with my blackness too. You know what I'm saying? Even more so over the last few years. But like, hip hop is still my culture. You know what I'm saying? So, like, when I see it being disrespected or whatever, and I've written a couple blogs and things like that, and articles for Rapzilla and stuff like that about the things about hip hop culture that I appreciate, that I feel shouldn't be messed with. Like, I wrote the Don't Call It a Mixtape joint, and I've done some other stuff. But either way, my point is,
they know about you, brother. Don't worry about it.
Well, we have a question here that I think is super interesting that I think it should be asked. Joshua says, I think it's tough thing to say people have invaded and trying to own something, because then the question becomes, well, who really owns it and gets to make the rules, since it's a culture and a genre, not an organization. With an organization, it's easier to set those rules and establish whose it is. And maybe I'm misunderstanding what is being said. So that's a good question. Yeah. So if we're saying to these new guys that are just coming in and they're just, trying to act like they own this thing and make these rules up, who do we give that authority to and say, yeah, that's valid, but you are not? Like, how are you coming in? Like, do we say the OGs or Do we say someone who's been in it maybe after 5 years? You know, like how do we gauge this?
Yeah, I think the culture determines those things. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I think, and that's where it becomes difficult if you're outside of the culture because you don't know those rules.
Right.
Which is why some people ask those kinds of questions. They're like, but why can't I just, you know? Yeah. And it's like, well, the fact that you're asking kind of proves that you don't understand why. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
Like, there's, like, if you're in a culture, you just understand things naturally. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like,
no need to explain.
Culture, cipher culture, you understand you don't bring writtens to the cipher. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's unspoken rule. Nobody has to tell you. You don't bring writtens to the cipher, right?
What's rule number 1 of cipher? Timothy
Brindle can tell you a story. One time he was doing like rap battles back when they were still freestyles, right? And he spit a written line about a bubble goose when the dude was wearing a t-shirt and he got clowned for it. You know what I'm saying? So like those are rules that you learn because you're part of the culture. And if you violate them, there's consequences. You know what I'm saying? So in the same sense, I think the culture recognizes the vultures. You know what I'm saying? People who are in the culture are like, hold up, where did this dude come from? Right. What is he wearing? What is he, you know what I'm saying? They got all kinds of inquiries and questions and, you know what I'm saying, all kinds of concerns they got about these people.
They need an explanation for. So it's sort of like you going into a new you know, country and you don't know the mannerisms of respect or disrespect, like certain things in certain cultures are like disrespectful or whatever. It's like those kind of things you grow up in because you're from there. So you learn them naturally. They're not spoken out loud. It's just, you know, that you say that, you get hit in the mouth, or you know that you got to learn how to do this to defend there, or you know if there's 3 people coming around you, you got to block this way and this way and this way. You know what I'm saying? Like you just know these things naturally.
Absolutely. Like,
but it's true though. Like, you know, you're not supposed to bring nothing written to a cipher. Like those are like unwritten rules. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You know when the cops are behind you. No, let me stop. You know, you gotta. Suddenly, you need a coffee. No.
I watched a conversation. Propaganda was at a church in LA, and he was talking with some folks about like, kind of like gentrification and the things going on in the neighborhoods and stuff like that. And he was making a point about like, you know, a lot of people, they come, you know, especially with the church, they come in and they're like, what can we do? Like, give us a list of bullet points. And he was like, but that's just the thing. Like, you don't need bullet points. You just need to hang around for a while.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Like, the longer you're here, the easier it'll be for us to not recognize the fact that you're not from here. And it'll just rub off on you, and you'll understand. You'll just be a part of the culture. But if you come in from the gate, and you're like 6 months in, and you got questions. But wait, hold up. How do I do this? And how do I do? It's like, just stay around, homie. Like, you'll learn eventually. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
stick with it.
So
stick with it. So just keep with it, man. That's it.
So don't give us the list of questions to help you understand. Like this isn't a study. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
especially if the desire is to somehow benefit from it.
Exactly.
You know, for selfish gain. It's like, oh, I know how to do this and that, and they don't know how to do this, so I know how to flip this and do this, and you know, they you know the game. You know how to flip around, and those are the ones you got to be careful for because they know how to take advantage in each and every way.
Yep.
You know, absolutely. And some of them are not operating in the fruit of the spirit. There you go.